Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rashmi from greytHR and today's moderator of this session. First and foremost, a warm welcome to one and all, and thank you for joining us today in this exclusive session of Parichay Ask the Expert session. So, as you know, our today's discussion is on the most awaited topic, the new Code of Wages, the changes and significances. So before we begin, let's do a little bit of housekeeping on how the session goes on. So for first few minutes, there'll be a discussion done on our today's topic with the help of our special moderator and expert, which is then followed by Q&A. And if you have any questions, please type them into the question box in your Zoom control panel, and I'll bring them up during Q&A, try and get the answers from our experts. Also, if happens to miss out on any part of our today's session, not to worry at all, because currently we are recording this session and the same will be soon shared with all of you. So without any further delay, let's start our today's session, and here goes the agenda of our today's session. So during our session today, we will throw some light on how is this new code of wages is going to affect us. So what is the expected financial impact of it on the organizations, and how is it going to affect the employer's CTC payout and employees take home? And not just that, as an organization, how do we manage this transition, and what's the effect on the organization due to adoption of this automation? And also, for the ones who are new to our Parichay series, let me give you a quick intro on what is the session all about, and then proceed with the rest of the discussion. So greytHR Parichay is a series of thought leadership webinars that brings together industry leaders on a common platform to discuss trending HR topics. The aim of these webinars is to give SME and MSMEs an opportunity to connect with the industry leaders and domain experts and keep themselves abreast of the current trends and information. So under this, we have started our new initiative called Parichay Ask the Expert session. So these sessions are intended to have one-on-one interaction with the industry leaders and subject matter experts who would speak on a specialized topic. So here at greytHR, we believe this provides our attendees a unique opportunity to meet, interact, and get their queries answered directly by the expert. So in our today's Parichay Ask the Expert session, we are going to discuss about the new code on wages, and this session will help us find answers to all our queries and doubts about the new code on wages, which is expected to soon come into effect. So let me introduce our special moderator for the evening, Mr. Girish Rauji, the CEO and co-founder of greytHR Software Private Limited. So welcome to this session, and thank you for joining us today. So without taking any more time, I would hand over this session to Mr. Girish.
Thank you, Rashmi. Thanks for the introductions. Very warm good afternoon to all people who are joining us on the webinar today. The topic is extremely relevant to our current situation with the government wanting to roll out the code of wages. This actually, as we all know, is part of a larger scheme of labor law compliance simplification and enhancements. The government is doing two things. One is simplifying and also trying to make a lot of our labor laws more current and more relevant to the current situation. We have with us Mr. Muthu Manickam, a very esteemed guest and a speaker. I'll start off with a little, a very brief introduction about Mr. Manickam, and then we could move forward. Folks, would like to introduce Mr. Manickam, a very, very experienced and very respected figure in the labor and compliance circles. He was the Chief Deputy Labor Commissioner at Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. He has done a lot of things, worn a lot of hats, has a very checkered career. He's been in industrial relations. He's done a lot of work on compliance, training, leadership, and administration of labor laws. A little background about him. He's a law graduate, one of the a topper in UPSC, one of the first in Tamil Nadu. 2018 to 21, served as Deputy Labour Commissioner. He's also nominated by the Government of India to represent our nation in the ILO meeting in Geneva. He's been felicitated by the central government. He's also done a lot of work in several programs on All India Radio, Doordarshan, and many other areas. So, please join me in welcoming Mr. Muthu Manickam for our session. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you for being part of this session. And thank you for agreeing to share your views and also share with us some advice and tips on the new Code of Wages. So I would like to start off this session. So, sir, as we all know, the Code of Wages has been in the making for a little while now. Government had been wanting to introduce it for quite some time. April was a timeline when they wanted to introduce for various reasons, because it being a state subject, states had to bring this law and they had to notify it. One of the first things that I think most of our audience would like to know is, there seems to be a lot of changes coming in due to the Code of Wages, changes on salary computation, which is near to most people's heart, but equally important things like changing in working hours, right? And changing in some of the rules and processes that are there when dealing with employees. It could be on settlement, it could be on gratuity. Sir, can you please share with us, what are the major changes that you foresee that will happen for organizations due to the new labor laws?
Good evening, Mr. Girish Raj and all participants. It is my pleasure and honor to be with you on this fine evening to share some of my views and experience on the subject. And this is the second of such program with this renowned team. And it is my pleasure to be associated like this. And I wish to share what best I can, what best I have learned. So I also welcome all your questions related to the subject. So let us go by the question posed by Mr. Girish Rao. This subject of code on wages, it introduces a sea change. It is not one change or two change. It is slated to bring a completely new picture. There are many points in favor of workers. There are also several points in favor of organizations. So we cannot have a cake and eat. So either we have to have the cake or we have to eat. So the benefit or the advantage is equal for either side. So there are also certain common benefiting the employer and employed. So the code on wage, it subsumes 4 labor laws. So all along, the minimum wage, the concept of minimum wage, it is restricted only to scheduled employment. With the code, the concept of scheduled employment is gone. The code is applicable to all industry. The code is applicable to all kind of employment. The code is applicable to all personnel in the state of organization. Either a Group D employee or the MD of the company. To everybody, as far as wage is concerned, the code is applicable. Therefore, the code is bringing a picture which is unimagined. We have passed so many decades of independence, but such a kind of thought or a proposal or a scheme was never thought of. Even a small change in labor law, there used to be a lot of publicity and advertisement and talk about that. But this code, already passed by Parliament, it brings an immense change, a sea change in the total picture of labor law. As far as the organization is concerned, the code is introducing new wage period. Earlier, there was a time limit to pay up to 10th. Now, all wages have to be paid before 7th. So similarly, the code has set the time limit for payment of dues in respect of a worker whose services are ceased. And also, the code has introduced several concepts in structuring the pay and allowances of every employee. Normally, practically, there are so many, we come across number of employees, whether staff or officers, drawing maybe about 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh. But if we take their wage for the purpose of calculation of their retirement benefit, it will be meager. For example, a person drawing about 1,50,000 rupees, his basic and DA maybe about 15,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees only. The whole bunch, the remainder would be allowances. So the person may not know the repercussion while he was in service. At the back end of the service, when the terminal dues are calculated, he will come to know that the gratuity or that terminal dues he is likely to get is not considerable. So, considering such kind of situation, only the code has brought several relief to the workers. At the same time, what the responsibility or the liability loaded upon organization is not exhaustive, it's not considerable. It is bearable only. For example, there are several changes happening, several price rise like petrol price revision, like that. So many things are happening. We are accepting. So this concerns about the career of people who are growing and associating their whole life with an organization, with an employer. So it only adds a little more weight to an organization. About the structure of pay, we will discuss subsequently, but about the changes, major changes, as I was asked by Mr. Grease, I just would like to say, the management of an organization can pay wages directly, wages and bonus directly to bank. It need not get authorization from any employee. Similarly, the inspection Raj was brought to an end, and all inspections are web-based, and an inspector cannot use his discretion. Only the inspection is based on web-based inspection. Therefore, the inspection Raj is almost brought to an end. And also, there are several violations under labor laws. Earlier, all actions are to be treated as criminal offences. Now, the code says all violations for the first time are only civil offence. Only repeated violation after 5 years will be treated as criminal violation. And the code also provides for compounding of offences. So the code also does away with several authorities. Earlier, there were so many authorities. For example, in some cases, the Assistant Labour Commissioner will be an authority. In some cases, the Deputy Chief Regional Labour Commissioner is authority. In some cases, the Deputy Chief Labour Commissioner is authority. Like that, here the code has done away with the several authority, and it provides only one authority to hear and dispose the violation. And the code also enables organizations to maintain records online. Payslip can be maintained online. So like that, the code is providing several relief to the establishment, management. At the same time, the code is providing also a lot of relief to the workers. The code is covering all workers. There is no concept of scheduled employment. The code is providing minimum wages, floor level wages. Floor level wages, it is fixed at regional level, and also all India level. So the no wage can be fixed less than the floor wage. And the code also clearly provides several time limits for a worker within which he will get the payment, even in the case of this cessation of employment. And also the code fixes the responsibility for payment. The responsibility payment with the proprietor. It's not that somebody is notified as principal employer and he is responsible. Also, in respect of contractor, the code fixed the responsibility of the principal employer in the event of failure of the contractor. Also, the code requires the principal employer to clear the bills of the contractor before the date of payment. This is also a very new concept introduced by the code. And also, the code enables the appropriate government. For example, most of the cases, the appropriate government will be the concerned state government. Appropriate government to fix the ceiling relating to bonus. So, if an organization is functioning in several states may be fixing the ceiling according to it may differ. Different states may be having different ceiling. That also one aspect. Earlier, not earlier. As on date, only one ceiling is there. That also is normally and it is fixed only with the central government. So such kind of changes are brought, and also in the event of non-payment of wages or bonuses, the burden of proof lies only with the management. The concerned worker need not it's not required to prove the burden. So like that, the benefit or the impact or the picture introduced by the code is vast. Therefore, it is felt that it is beneficial to the employer as well the employed.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I mean, that was quite informative. We covered many areas in terms of to whom.
So we can go in depth also, but I don't want to stick with this one question.
Understand. We appreciate it, sir. We did cover broadly the areas in terms of who it is applicable for. Okay, the new concept of ensuring that payments are done on time and employees have recourse to doing that. And we also hear from you, sir, that this is a very balanced approach to taking care of some of the challenges faced both by the employees and the employers. The law has been the changes that have been brought in takes into consideration and tries to attempts to solve problems for, if I can use the right word, both the parties. So we understand that. Mr. Manickam, going forward, from a compensation perspective, can you please tell us how the compensation will get affected? Because this is something that's very key. A lot of our audience would like to know what are the effects of changes in compensation. For example, we talked about basic wages, right? And then we heard that there's a rule of 50%. Now, is this applicable to everybody? Is this applicable only to the statutory limit? For example, in terms of the PF and ESI, will this cut down the amount of salary that is being paid? Is this going to affect only the below minimum wage, I mean, the PF workers, or is it going to affect everybody? Would love to hear, sir, from you how exactly the compensation portion of the employee and the employer. Also, if you can shed some light in terms of how the compensation portion will affect the employer in terms of either is there going to be more outflow, do they have to do more gratuity provisioning? If you can cover this area, I think the audience would be extremely interested and would want to know about this.
Actually, the code introduced one of the major change relating to pay structure. There are questions relating to CTC. CTC is only from the point of view of a company, the cost to the company. But the prospect from the point of individual is not covered. It's not taken care of. For example, as I just said earlier, one individual may be drawing about 1,10,000 rupees. But his basic and DA, there are organizations where there is no DA, dearness allowance, only basic, but a quite number of allowances in so many names. So that the individual may be getting a basic of rupees 20,000 rupees, and his total pay may be about 1,10,000 rupees. In that case, his PF we can say calculate maybe at the rate of, let us take 10%. So his PF contribution by the employer is only 2,000 rupees per month. But his total pay is 1,10,000 rupees. And if we take this gratuity at the time of retirement, for example, he is leaving the organization after 10 years of service, the gratuity is likely to get is only about 1,15,000. This is not a considerable amount a person is likely to receive after 10 years of service, and who is drawing about 1,10,000 rupees per month. So the reason is most of the organizations, they structure the pay in such a way that the allowances which are not covered or which are not taken for the purpose of provident fund and gratuity are the bulk. The portion that is considered for social benefit is only the least. I don't know what is the reason or the logic behind this. A company wishes to promote an individual, a company wishes to compensate an individual, a company wishes to encourage an individual, a company wishes to award an individual, a company wishes an individual to grow further with the company, but the company do not wish him to receive a considerable amount at the time of his retirement. He's not understood what is the logic. So it's not that the individual has a family to shoulder, the individual has social obligation. It's not the other way also we can think. For example, during the course of employment, an individual may not be so much concerned about his future commitments or responsibilities. So even a person drawing about 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees may be spending the whole amount during the course of his employment. But once he is retired or once he becomes disabled, maybe due to accident, partial disablement or permanent disablement, so his career is getting stuck. So with such kind of pay structure presently prevalent in most of the organizations, an individual and his family is affected. So this is a very serious consideration we have not thought of. Maybe this may be the culture in other countries, but our culture is entirely different. Our culture revolves around family, and we have social values and other things. So an individual needs to be strengthened adequately to bear his social commitments, family commitments. So keeping such factors into consideration, the code is adopting a new formula that the total payment above 50% of his payment is, the code uses the word payment, not allowance or basic. Above 50%, it should be considered as part of the wages. So in this case, for example, a person, as I told, his total emolument 1,10,000 rupees, and his basic and DA may be only 20,000 rupees. So in such a case, the 90,000 rupees is only allowance. These allowances, by whatever name, whether PF contribution or gratuity contribution or pension contribution or bonus or monthly bonus or monthly incentive or conveyance allowance, there are quite a number of names by which allowances are called. But the code states and clearly, by one stroke, it excludes all such kind of allowance. The code holds only basic, DA, and retaining allowance as the wage. So we have to calculate the social benefits only based on this. So this necessitates a rethinking on the part of every organization and on the part of HR community. This introduce a concept, this alert the organization to restructure the pay. If we really work out, as I just told, the person drawing 1,10,000 rupees, presently his PF contribution is only 2,000 rupees. But once the code is being implemented, his wage for the purpose of calculation of provident fund will be approximately 60,000 rupees. So 60,000 rupees, if we calculate the provident fund at the rate of 10%, it amounts to 6,000 rupees. So an organization a large organization may be remitting about 2 crore rupees every month towards provident fund. Such organization may be required to remit 3 times, maybe around 6 crores per month. This is one of the commitment on the part of the organization and one of the area wherein our HR fraternity is required to plan. Similarly, the gratuity, the person, same example, the person drawing 1,10,000 rupees is after a tenure of 10 years of service, his gratuity will be approximately 1,15,000 rupees. This is the introduction of the code. This is the change of the definition of wage. with the inclusion of 50% of the allowances for the purpose of calculation, the amount of wage to be taken for calculation of gratuity will be about 60,000 rupees. So 60,000 rupees, if we calculate for a person who is leaving the organization after 10 years of service, his gratuity will be approximately about 4,32,000 rupees. So earlier he was supposed to get only 1,15,000 rupees as gratuity. With the implementation of the code, his gratuity is becoming 4,32,000 rupees. That it indicates approximately about 275% raise. It's not that the calculation I am showing. Every person can work it out as per on the lines of the code, and of course, it is an additional burden for the company. The company is required to bear what is called a different type of expenditure and unexpected source of expenditure. Some organization may feel it as an unbearable amount of expenditure. But a discussion like this, it's only alerts an organization to be prepared. That's the important change as far as structuring of pay is concerned with the implementation of the code.
Sir, one of the discussion points that we were finding generally, many people discussing that, for example, in the case of PF, right, the definition of this minimum wage was primarily applicable to the statutory limit, because that is what is mandated by the government. The law mandates that up to 15,000 rupees, you will have to do the mandatory PF. And beyond this was more voluntary in nature. So what are your views in terms of, if organizations, is there a possibility that organizations can take a call that says that I am okay with paying 50% of, wages up to the 15,000 limit. But beyond that, because this is voluntary in nature, anything beyond the 15,000 rupees and the 12% on that. So what are your views? Is this a correct view? Is this a view that can be taken, or does it go against the law, or just the letter and spirit of what is it, against the law itself, or is it against the spirit of the law, sir? What are your views on that?
Sorry, I have not come across such kind of provision.
Okay.
To my knowledge, PF Act do not make such kind of differentiation. And perhaps there may be a proposal, as you have said, may come into practice when the codes are implemented, but it is not part of the code on wage.
Right now, the code on wages does not visualize that, but it could happen when states notify. There could be many things that could happen.
Possible. There are many views aired against the implementation of the codes.
Okay.
From both sides, employers as well employed. Several trade unions are raising slogans against this. And also employers are also raising serious concern over it. Perhaps the view you have expressed may come into effect. I am not aware.
Thank you, sir. So we appreciate the view on that. Sir, I mean, moving forward, now that this is going to become a reality, right? And there is going to be a fairly large number of changes that will come through. What do you think, sir, are the things organizations can do to prepare themselves? What is the way forward? Can you share some practices? Can you share some tips to all our listeners in terms of how they can be prepared? Because if in another couple of months, they have already given a timeline of October for notifying this, or it may go. But anyway, in a very short while, it will become reality. So what do you think, sir, are some of the tips? What can they do to get themselves ready?
As you said, this is likely going to become a reality. The world has never experienced or imagined a situation like the corona. The world is under lockdown for the last 2 years. We almost lost several thousands of lives. So still we are what is called facing, managing, and recovering from the new normal. So similarly, this is not COVID is a situation against humanity, against our survival. But this code, the labor code, is not against humanity. It is a we have to take it in right spirit. It is an attempt, it is an honest attempt by the government to regulate the relationship between the employed and employer in a better way. There are several aspects that were not considered so far. As I said, the employers, any violation under labor law, it is a criminal offense. The employer has to run to the civil court, criminal court. Criminal court. It will not be heard and disposed in one hearing or two hearings. It will be, in some cases, it will be alive for about more than 10 years. And there are cases wherein employers were awarded imprisonment also. So such kind of serious situation, the code has done away. The code is saying all kinds of violation. For the first time, it is only civil offense. And at the same time, it provides for compounding of offense. The authority can impose, the employer can plead guilty, and authority can impose a fine, and with that, it comes to an end. So, similarly, there are several benefits and factors, aspects provided for the workers. We already spoke about it. Therefore, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to accept. We have to, like every organization, for example, an organization may be depending on for a raw material from United States. All of a sudden, there were cases wherein the import-export policy changes or some ban is imposed. The organization tried to survive. So similarly, this is a situation wherein the law was already passed by both houses of parliament. There were also several stages wherein the implementation was postponed, owing to several reasons. Therefore, it is not that the day will pass like this forever. As you rightly told, the day for implementation is going to come very shortly. So, it is the duty of our HR fraternity to be the eyes and ears of the organization to prepare, plan, and restructure their pay scale and prepare every organization to come up to manage this change. That is what I feel.
Sir, any other preparations? Am I audible?
No, you are audible, but I don't know what do you mean by preparation. Preparation means we know what is what. For example, the RO is coming towards us at such a notified speed. So we are aware the RO is coming, and we are aware of the speed. We are aware of the location. We are aware of the person who has sent it. So we are aware of all these things. It means we have to accept the fact. We have to alter our position, or we have to accept it, or we have to escape from it, or we have to try to live with it. And code, it is a action done for the common good. It is an action of the parliament. It's the action of the highest forum. It's an action for the social welfare of every citizen. Nearly 50, the estimated figure is about 50,000 employed persons shall be benefited, shall be covered under the provisions of the code. So earlier, the quite number of labor were not availing the benefits of the code. Even if we see the benefit or the huge number of workers are likely to be covered under the provisions of code, the ultimate benefit, in spite of so much provision, ultimate benefit a person is going to get is not so much alarming. Therefore, my humble view is that the organization need not raise the alarm. It is a bearable change. It is a change for the benefit of the society, benefit of the organization, benefit of the individual, benefit of the employees. In that right spirit, we have to accept it. That is what I feel.
Thank you, sir. That's very relevant advice. Sincerely appreciated. Sir, before the audience has a lot of questions are continuing to pour in. So I'll just ask a couple of last few questions before I hand over to Rashmi, and our participants also want to have a lot of specific questions. Sir, in terms of implementation time, so in terms of when this will start getting effect from, Is it going to be by state, or is it there a time that the central government will decide and then it will be rolled out to everyone? Can you share some insights on that, sir?
Actually, it will be introduced, it will be implemented throughout India only. Now the rules are ready, rules were notified. The codes were already, the code on wage already was passed. And the reason it has been delayed is, one of the major reasons is the whole country we were facing the war with the corona. So our major focus was only tackling corona. And another important thing is there are several major states which are only finalizing their rules. There are several states wherein the rules on code on wages and other labor codes, new codes, are not ready. Though the government of India has been regularly pursuing, such is expected to be finalized shortly. So till such time, it may take some time. But it is sure that it may not take more time or long time.
Okay. So one final question from you before I hand over to our audience. There is this new concept of this gig economy, right? Where people are not formally employed, but they still work for a company. They can receive wages. We know about the the Uber and taxi thing that came up earlier. So how does this code of wages affect? Does it affect them, or are they out of the purview of this? Can you share some light?
It's a very good question. We are getting benefit from several kind of people whose welfare is not considerably considered. And the quite number of people, you can see now the Uber or Ola or Swiggy, Zomato, so many online platforms, they have become an order of the day. So many families, they are accustomed to order things online, and they have accustomed to a situation wherein they don't wish to leave their home, and they wish everything to be delivered at their doorstep. But let us also examine the conditions of such people who are exposing themselves to the sun and rain and very bad weather and also all kind of risk. So such boys, what is the benefit? What amount of risk they take? What is the benefit? What about the future? So these kind of workers are called gig workers and platform workers. So this, the Western economy has considerable number of such kind of gig workers and platform workers. This is a new concept to India, and it is expected that our economy also is slowly turning towards such gig economy. We cannot say, some economists predict, but there are no provisions so far to take care of the welfare of such kind of gig workers or platform workers. Now only the code on wages as well as other social security codes, they are trying to provide some kind of relief to such kind of gig workers, platform workers. Platform workers are those who are working through several online platforms of several companies. There may not be even direct employer and employee relationship. Maybe the case of your company, you may be introducing for an expert. That expert maybe you may be having a person like an agent. Through an agent or a contractor, you may be employing a person. Such kind of person is a gig worker. Such kind of person who avail the work from, who provides some services to you through your online, is a platform worker. So such kind of worker, first time we are trying to provide relief. The government is trying to provide relief through the labor codes, new codes. And such kind of workers are expected to register themselves, because so far there is no data. Now the Honorable Supreme Court of India, doing the recent judgment, has directed the government of India to complete the registration of such kind of migrant workers, and the government is on the job. So once these workers are registered, at least such kind of organization which provide such kind of work to such kind of workers can share some of the revenue to the government. A common welfare fund is set up. It will be maintained by the government, and it will cater to the social benefits of such kind of workers at the back end of service, like providing some pension or disablement benefit. So this thing. So this gig economy is likely to it has already taken place. It has rooted in India. It is likely to flourish also. Therefore, it is our duty to encourage such kind of workers, and it is easy for the organization also to employ such kind of workers for some temporary purpose, and such workers at the same time need to be provided some benefit. So the code on labor, code on wage also provides takes care of such workers.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very informative session. Our audience has a lot of questions, so I will hand it over to Rashmi. Rashmi, please take up. There are a lot of questions coming in. People want Mr. Manickam to give them some suggestions and tips. So handing it over to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Our audience will now get.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaskaram.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So now we are opening up for Q&A round. So please put across your questions.
Little volume can you raise?
Sorry, sir.
Volume. If possible, can you raise?
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, sir, we have a couple of questions from our attendees. So one of the questions is from Abita. Hi, Abita. So Abita's question is there any changes in PF and ESI contribution percentage with this new wage code?
As of now, the code, it accommodates the provision from the previous labor laws. Only few provisions are changed or altered. Most of the provision, for example, calculation of bonus, the same provision what is under the Payment of Bonus Act. So similarly, Provident Fund, ESI, the rate or the wage for the purpose of ESI, or the calculation, or the wage for the purpose of Provident Fund, or the calculation is not changed. It continues.
All right. Thank you,
Only
sir.
thing, as we discussed earlier, this is the code, the pay structure will change. As we discussed in the example of the person who is drawing 1,10,000 rupees per month, his Provident Fund contribution today is 2,000 rupees approximately. This Provident Fund contribution is going to be it is definitely going to be more than 2 times, or it is going to be about 3 times. But the calculation formula or the factors considered is it remains the same.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. So I think that answers most of our audience question here. I'll take up the next question. It is from Cyril. Hi, Cyril. So Cyril's question is, my understanding is that to implement the new code on wages in our organization, state has to come up with creating applicable rules within the state. How far that is completed by the state governments? And as far as I know, government of Kerala is not done it so far. So how do we approach this, and what are the consequences on the applicability of this new code on wages in this context?
No, actually, our governance is of 2 times. It is a federal setup. So the central government parliament has passed the law code, but the states, they have to the enforcing most, except the central sphere, the labor jurisdiction is enforced only at state level. So most of the state government, they only deal with the organization, they only enforce the labor laws, and they are required to frame the labor rules under every code. As you said, there are several states which have already finalized the code rules, but there are certain major states I don't want to name because it may be inappropriate, or I am not authorized to say, or it may not be correct because the process is going on. But several major states, they are not finalized the rules. So it is under the process, but it is likely to be finalized shortly. That much only I am confident.
All right. Thank you, sir. So I hope that answers the question. And
Please,
we
please,
have,
Rashmi,
yes, sir.
I have one, I think maybe a critical question. If you're okay with it, I'll just ask it.
Please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Sir, one of the key questions here, I have seen multiple questions, that is on this concept of variable pay, performance pay, right? And let me read the question to you. Variable pay and performance pay, the pay that is not fixed in nature, that comes occasionally. I'll ask the question. The audience, Mr. Harinder Mohan, the question is whether performance bonus will be included in exclusion or in the definition of wages.
It is not included.
Performance bonus. Yeah.
No. The definition is simple, easy. The definition is not ambiguous. The definition do not include so many factors or components. The definition says very simple. It is only says only three, like Om Namah Shivaya. It says only basic, DA, retaining allowance. As I said, just said, there are quite number of nomenclature by which every organization is addressing an allowance. We have come across, I have dealt. So all such kind of allowances do not form within the legal definition of wages. Therefore, the performance pay or incentive or whatever other terminology is used is not wage.
Sir, a related question.
Please.
So the question is from Mr. Ravi Kumar. So question is like this. If an employee has a variable pay, which will be paid once in a quarter based on performance, when paid, it may go beyond 50% of the salary. Then will that additional, because the law says that anything above that 50% will be brought back into the concept of the wage. So now the question is, if I get paid a variable pay once a quarter, and that is a significant number and it pushes this beyond, then will that also be considered as a basic pay?
It will not be considered, but whenever as the situation or the fact, the factual situation you are narrating may be practical, but may be occasional. But in such situation, when such kind of payment becomes due for payment in that particular month, we have to restructure the wage for that month.
Noted, sir. So
surely it will not be what is called taken as part of the wage for the purpose of PF calculation or gratuity calculation.
Oh, noted, sir. Noted. Thanks for that. So the next question, I'm sorry, Rashmi, a couple of questions.
Please,
this again from Harinder Mohan. So the question is how to value benefit in kind, car, stock awards, etc. Because we come to the definition when the definition said it is payment. Right? Now payment, this is a lot of benefits are being given to employees. So how does this get accounted, sir? What does this, how does this get included?
Please repeat the question.
Question is how to value benefit in kind. So if somebody has been given a car, a house, stock awards, etc. Okay, because it is not a cash payout. The company is spending on behalf. In a situation like that, does this get included in the concept of the basic wage?
No, it will not be included. It will not be included. It is one kind of allowance only.
But not paid in cash, sir. It is
Yeah, correct. For example, you are providing accommodation, housing accommodation. You may be recovering only 1,000 rupees from his pay. The real rent may be about 40,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees. So it will not form part of the wage. No, my humble opinion to every participant or the HR fraternity is only the wage definition is too simple. Just to take only these three. Retaining allowance may be a rare case. Most of the organizations may not be having. So basic plus DA only. DA also several organizations don't have. They have quite number of allowances except DA. So when you are having basic, that only is this thing for the purpose of wage, for the purpose of code. And when you have allowances, And when it crosses more than this 50% formula, you have to restructure. You have to take the portion above 50% for the purpose of wage, and you have to include it for the purpose of calculation of provident fund and gratuity.
Noted, sir. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
So one question. See,
Please.
one of the clauses that got added was on settlement, right? Because the government mandated a rule that says that the payment has to be done on time as far as wages are concerned. On settlement, the code states that you have to complete the settlement payout within 2 days for the employee. Now, in a related context, there's a question here from our participant. This is a question from Mr. Vinay. So the question is like this: since you are working from home, collection of company assets for left employees will take time. In that case, how can we handle the final settlement within 2 days? Do we have any provision to hold salary till we receive company assets? That's the query, sir.
The question is very genuine, but if we give time, the time will be endless. And we can see several boys and girls running after organization. And we are, as a Deputy Chief Labour Commissioner, I have handled hundreds and hundreds of grievances relating to non-settlement of dues. And also there are quite number of the persons likely affected are home workers. They will be working from home, but once the master and servant relationship is ceased, it is difficult for them to get their dues settled. So, in order to safeguard their interest and in order to take care of their interest only, the code says it should be settled within 2 working days.
Noted, sir. Thank you for that. Rashmi, over to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we also have a couple of more questions from our attendees. So one of the question is from Ms. Seema. So Seema's question is, as you are aware, the consultants will not come under purview of any social security such as PF, ESI, and the retirals like gratuity. So are consultants covered under new wage code?
No. Final part of the question is?
Whether consultants are covered under this new wage code.
No, consultants are like a gig worker only. Yes, definitely they are covered. No, the code, as I said, it is covering almost all kinds of employment. It is covering the lowest person to the MD. So it is not, as far as payment of wage is concerned, if the MD has grievance, it also can be enforced with the provisions of the code. Consultants are definitely covered. They can be assured.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your assurance. I think Seema might be happy now.
Not my assurance. I am just sharing the provision.
All right, sir. So I'll go to the next question. So since you're already talking about certain CTC components and allowances, there's something related to that again. It is from Mr. Gurunath. So the question is, will statutory bonus paid on monthly basis as part of CTC will be part of the new wages code, and whether it attracts PF and gratuity?
No, we have already discussed this point.
Right.
Statutory bonus or non-statutory bonus by different name like incentive or performance or whatever the name, whether it is paid annually or quarterly or 6 monthly or monthly, it is not included as part of the wage under the code.
All right. Thank you, sir. So I think that answers the question. And next question is from one of our attendees, sir. It's about principal employer. So the question is principal employer liable to compensate for the revised contract value if there is a burden on contractor due to changes in wages?
Yes, definitely. For example, once you can see the minimum wage is periodically revised, and the revision also is done. The basic and DA, everything DA is merged with the latest cost of index once in 5 years under the provisions of the payment under the provisions of Minimum Wages Act. So once this is introduced, we adopt it, we revise the contractual values, we upload the increase, everything. So similarly, we have to do that. Is a reality as Mr. Grace Raj said.
Right, sir.
In fact, we have to simply honor and accept.
Correct, sir. Yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So, next question is from one of our attendees, Anu. So, the question is, currently there's an option to cap the Provident Fund contribution on restricted basic and DA, that is 15,000 per month. So, how does that get affected because of this new wage code?
Actually, the amount may change, but the most of the provision relating to Provident Fund, it will continue. Maybe a revision in the ceiling, it may come. But the formula, the calculation, everything remains the same.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Capping may change.
Yeah. All right. So I think, Anu, you have got your answer. And sir, most of our attendees are curious to know, when is this going to be implemented? When is it going to be effective from?
No, this too we discussed. The Parliament has already passed both bills. The President has given assent. At the same time, in my humble opinion, Corona is the main reason for the delay. Otherwise, this must have come into practice long back. And another thing, several states, they are in the final stage of notifying the rules. And once this is already, several major states have notified their rules. But some states are yet to, they are in the process, it is in the pipeline. It is likely to come into force shortly.
All right.
My advice and appeal to HR fraternity is to alert the organization, keep the organization prepared. And if you have doubt, you can go to the expert. Expert will guide. Mr. Grace Raj is awaiting for opportunity to guide you.
Thank you, sir. No, yes. Sir, I have one related question.
Please.
The date of notification, will the law be having any retrospective effect at all, or will it only be prospective?
No.
Because that is also one fear that is there, because central government has passed it, state government is not there, it's already effective. So how does this work, sir?
No. This is a question to be decided only by Parliament, but we are only discussing. But my humble opinion is, this is a provision which is to be implemented only prospectively. This is not a matter to be implemented with the retrospective effect like the case of bonus. Even the retrospective notification of bonus, it is still under subjudice. Therefore, and another thing, this brings an impact that is not simple, that is not small, that is not negligible.
Yeah. Significant.
And employer federation also is not a small organization. So government also will consider. We have to be practical. It will be, my opinion, it will be prospectively.
Noted, sir. Yeah. I mean, the idea here is only to get some kind of thinking from the government side. See, because we tend to read too much on the internet. Okay, we always want to know from experts like you whether, when you are looking at speaking to some of the colleagues within the government, is there any thinking on that? It's good to note, because it's going to become inimical. It's a significant impact, and government also understands that this has to be implemented. And prospectives most likely the way it is going to be.
My opinion is it cannot be implemented retrospectively. This is my humble opinion, my personal opinion.
Thank you, sir. Okay, over to you, Rashmi.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, a few of our questions are around the working hours as well. So a few of our attendees are wondering whether this new change will impact the weekly working hours or overtime working hours of any employees. So would you like to say something on this?
No, most of the provisions as available under the law is not changed. But the only thing, even for example, overtime, hours of work, everything is changed, same only. For example, certain provisions relating to overtime or ceiling on overtime, such provisions are not available in code on wage. Such provision, for example, relates to factory, and such provisions are available in WOS code. So WOS code, if we discuss, we can go into that. And also, the WOS code are to be enforced by the state government, like Factories Act. So the state government has to fix the CAPE on overtime. The state government have to devise the maximum hours of work. The state government has to make provision relating to weekly off. Therefore, we have to refer this point to the respective state rules. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I hope that answers many of our questions here. And next question is from one of our attendee, Ms. Sangeeta. So Sangeeta's request is, can you please explain on specified exclusions and conditional inclusions in consideration of wages?
In consideration of
Wages.
wages.
Yes.
No, please repeat the question.
Yes, sir. So Sangeeta's question is, can you please explain on specified exclusions and conditional inclusions in consideration of wages?
No, actually, we have discussed this point elaborately. Except these three elements, basic, DA and retaining allowance, all other kinds of payments are to be excluded for the purpose of this code, for the purpose of calculating wage for under the code. So inclusion is, for example, when we under the provisions of Equal Remuneration Act, there is a provision of comparison of the same and similar work between men and women. This provision has been accommodated into the code. So when we compare or when we calculate, when we say that the same and similar work, the wages are different. So in that situation, the code says several allowances which we otherwise exclude for the purpose of calculation of wage, it is to be included. We have to take such allowance, for example, traveling allowance or house rent allowance or incentive, monthly incentive or overtime allowance, all kind of allowance, whatever the allowance, whatever the allowance excluded in the definition of wages and plus some other allowance prevalent in an organization, we may have to include it for the purpose of calculation of same and similar wage.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So also one humble request with all our participants, we do understand your curiosity. You want to get the answers for all your questions, but due to lack of time, we might miss out on a few of your questions, but don't worry, you can always get in touch with us and share your queries, and we will try to get answers for all of you as much as possible. And in the meantime, since we are already running short of time, I'll just take up a few more questions before we conclude the session. Sir, one of the question from the attendee is, you just explained us about how is this new change going to affect our PF, right? But a few of them also have the similar doubt for gratuity, whether the duration of gratuity is being changed or the cap limit for that changes. So that's what they would like to know.
No, this point also I think we have already discussed in length. I have quoted the example of a person drawing 1,10,000 rupees per month. As of now, if we take the PF contribution at the rate of 10%, his PF is his PF liability for an organization is only 2,000 rupees per month. If the code is implemented, his PF contribution will range from 6,000 to 7,500 rupees. So it means the individual is benefited. We can say indirectly his take-home pay to that extent may be reduced, but it is added to his account. His future is strengthened. His family is taken care of. His social commitments are likely to be handled easily. So it is going to be added to his retirement benefits. So his contribution, for example, 7,500 rupees per month means it is nearly, it is more than 3 times. So the organization also is required to contribute equivalent contribution. So 15,000 rupees per month. So as on date, the contribution per month for a person drawing 1,10,000 is only 4,000 rupees total. The individual contribution as well as the matching contribution. So this is one point. As far as gratuity is concerned, that person, the example we have discussed, His gratuity he is likely to get after 10 years of service if his total emolument is 1,10,000 rupees and his basic and gratuity is basic and DA is 20,000 rupees means he is likely to get only 1,15,000 rupees as gratuity. But after the implementation of the code, he is likely to get about 4,32,000 rupees as gratuity. It means nearly 275% raise. So the individual is benefited to that extent, and the organization has to bear the expense to that extent.
All right.
Please.
Thank you. Sir.
On the gratuity thing, there was Okay, thank you, sir. On the gratuity thing, there is one question that's raised by one of our participants. So the question is gratuity now applicable for somebody completing 1 year?
Oh, yes. Because it is not part of the code on wage, but still we can answer this. No, the concept of fixed tenure employment has been introduced. Already it is there. It means even for if the agreement provides for fixed tenure employment, yes, definitely on completion of 1 year, he is entitled to claim gratuity. And as per the present act, he can claim gratuity only after rendering continuous service of 5 years.
So is it only people who are on fixed term employments are 1 year limit, or is it for regular employment also?
No, regular employment, no, fixed tenure it is applicable. Regular employment also, no, for JIC workers it is there. Regular employment for 1 year, I am not sure.
Okay, no problems. So this is our participant Shubham. Mr. Shubham, what we will do is we are collecting all the questions. We have our community website, community.greytHR.com. We will post all these questions and all responses provided by Manickam sir. We will put that thing and we'll make it we will put it there. Please visit our community and we will be able to provide you a lot more answers. A lot of discussions are also there. You can log in there. We have experts, we have Manickam sir and others also coming in, and we will be able to share some insights and some information on the question. Okay? Yeah, over to you, Rashmi.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Sir, Muthu sir, just one last question before we conclude. We do understand you have shared a lot of information and insights with all of us today. So one of the participants is curious to know whether are we going to have any web portal to access all of this information in future?
A portal to address?
To get the information on this new change. Is there going to be any web portal as such from government side?
No, it is already available. No, all these provisions are available in the website of the Ministry of Labour.
Okay.
And also there are several law practitioners. They have been also uploading. Each and every information is available. Only thing, certain information may be too theoretical. It may not be practical. So, but with more participation in forums like this, you can clarify all kinds of doubts also. It is available. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And also, dear participants, like Mr. Girish just mentioned, many of your questions might be unanswered today in this session, but all of this is just because we are running short of time, but you can definitely visit our community forum. It is greytHR. So basically, this is the knowledge sharing platform. So all you need to do is just visit the greytHR and be a part of it and start sharing your questions and gain the knowledge from there. So on this note, I think it's time to wind up the session. But before we conclude the session, what we would like to say here is, let's embrace this new perspective, and we hope the new code on wages turns out to be a major breather for thousands of companies that have been hard put to set a new compensation structure for employees. And I thank our expert, Mr. Muthu Manickam, and our special moderator, Mr. Girish Rauji, in helping us gain all of these insights on new code of wages. And also, thanks to our attendees in making this session successful. So I hope you have found this session helpful and informative, and we are looking forward to see you in our upcoming sessions. You can always write back to us even on the mail ID that I have mentioned on the screen, that is sharmishta@greytHR.com, and we will definitely get back to you with the answers. On this note, I'm going to end the session now. Thank you once again, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Manickam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.